If you thought this debate was settled, you're dead wrong. In 2024, the very heated question of who should pay the bill at the end of a date is still getting just as strong responses on both sides. So in this video, I'm going to talk about how social media, decades of feminism, and something else have contributed to this mess. And I'm going to tell you why, in my opinion, there's a very clear answer to this question. Should you pay the bill as a man? So a video recently went viral of this guy, average looking guy. He's at a restaurant in Miami. It looks to be a fairly normal restaurant, nothing super fancy. He uploads this video and he's trying to make fun of the girl for being unhappy that he asked her to split the bill. Now, from the caption of this video, you can clearly tell he thought he was in the right. And you can tell he's expecting people to back him up in the comments.
Tinder date was not that she had to split the bill.
What'd you say?
Why are we splitting the bill?
Well, I mean, it's our first date, so I thought we should maybe...
I can't believe you made us split the bill.
I mean, you ordered an appetizer that I didn't even touch. Why do you think that I should
Okay,
pay
but
for it?
you asked me out.
I know, but you ordered something
You
that I did.
asked me out.
Alright, I'll just take you home and... Alright, see ya.
I give him credit for giving her a lift home, but honestly I'm surprised that she still wanted to get in the car with him after that. So you can tell that he's kind of expecting people to back him up in the comments, but then when you look what people have actually written, oh my god, it's a different story. So how did the check become such a minefield for men in dating? I think we need to have a little history lesson here, so let's go back to the 1950s for just a moment. So back then, men had the majority of the money in any relationship dynamic. In the middle class family, the man would be working and the woman wouldn't be. Now, if they were just dating and they were younger, then they both might be working, but 9 times out of 10, the man would be making more money. There was a very clear paternal dynamic between men and women. Whether you like it or not, it was definitely something that everybody understood. This dynamic has definitely shifted over the decades, and by the 1980s, it starts to become a question of debate whether or not a man should pay the bill or they should go Dutch. So some women decided at that time that it was empowering for them to pay their own way. And some men have decided that that narrative suits them quite well. Since then, things have been quite complicated. And I've made this little diagram of where I think things should be right now. This is my first ever diagram on a YouTube video. I really can't draw, okay? I warn you. So the original drawing I did was so horrendous, I realized I can't use it and I had to ask my girlfriend to do one on Canva for me. So this pink line represents the ability that women had to pay on a date. So from very little economic equality in the 1950s to an increasing amount over the decades, and it's a gradual increase as well. The green line represents men's willingness to pay the bill on a date. So in the 1950s, it would have been completely unthinkable for a man to ask to split the bill. It would be like him going to the bathroom on the floor next to the table. It would just be like an abhorrent idea. What are you doing? Obviously, this has changed over time, and in the 1980s and 90s, we see it becoming more of a question of debate about whether a man should split the bill or pay the whole thing. So what I'm hoping here is that as time goes on, even though women's ability to pay half the bill is increasing, so is men's willingness to pay the whole thing. It doesn't have to be going in the opposite direction. So this area here, in the yellow circle, this isn't really what has happened. This is what I'm hoping will happen. I think this would be a sweet spot where we see the optimum situation for both men and women meeting at this point. So I call this a bit of an age of enlightenment when it comes to dating, and this is what I hope will happen. And I think this is the optimum outcome for both genders. The enlightenment, so to speak, is realizing that feminism and chivalry can exist in the same world together. Now, you don't have to be a feminist, and some people actually think that is impossible as a man. You just have to be respectful of a woman's autonomy, but at the same time you realize that paying for things does not take that autonomy away from her. I mean, sure, a woman can pay half the bill, the same way that she can open her own car door. She still has arms, right? But is that really the logic that we want to use to decide how we behave? If you're a gentleman, I think you pay the check, no questions asked. And I don't think women need much convincing of this, but some of the guys definitely do. Remember that she has invested a lot in the date before she even turns up. She's spent time and money on her hair and makeup and maybe a new outfit. And it's okay if in this dynamic you're providing different things, you're bringing different things to the table, quite literally here. So she provides her beauty and her feminine energy and the status boost for you of being seen in public with her. In exchange, you arrange the date, you purchase the meal, and you're also good company and you look your best for her. So some very skeptical, cynical people would view this as transactional. But if you're worried about being too transactional, then going 50-50 is even worse, because then you're not even acknowledging the value that she's providing for you. Here's another reason why you should pay the bill. It helps create the right dynamic going forward. Splitting the bill is what you do with friends, but assuming you like this girl, you want to be more than friends with her. So when you ask her to go halves, you're deliberately disturbing that dynamic between men and women that we both crave. You're deliberately friend-zoning yourself. Now, I think the one time that it is perhaps okay to split the bill is if you've had the date and you've enjoyed it, but you realize together that there is no romantic prospect for you two, and you honestly would be better off as friends, then I think it's okay to say before the bill comes, you know, I think I've had a nice time with you, but I think it's very clear that there's nothing between us. Like, how would you feel about going halves on this one? So even if you're not 100% convinced about the philosophy of paying the bill, you probably agree that it is the smoothest thing to do. If you want to split the bill, then you know you've got this awkward moment coming. The waiter comes and brings you the check and he puts it in the middle of the table, or nearer you slightly because he's trying to give you a hint. You can either grab it, put your card down, and carry on with the rest of the date. And you'll probably get a coy, flirtatious thank you from her for doing that. She's realizing that you can step up and be a real man. Or you could awkwardly ask her to split it like this guy.
Well, I mean, it's our first date, so I thought we should maybe go half.
You can even tell by this guy's tone of voice that he's not very comfortable asking her. He knows he's being a child here, and he knows he's about to sour the evening. Splitting the bill is a great way to create awkwardness and ruin the vibes that you two might have going on. So guys, why would you want to take that risk? There's a certain smugness to this guy that I really hate to see. It's like he's given the girl a gotcha moment. He's trying to trick her. And I've come across some pretty disturbing communities of men online who seem to think that this kind of behavior is funny and they're putting entitled women in their place. Guys, it's men like you who make women lose faith in dating. It's guys like you who make women feel unsafe in dating. And it's guys like you who are actually slowly contributing to the decline in human partnerships and families. Luckily, I think this is a very small minority of guys, and I hope I'm right there, okay? But if you are one of those men, remember these are real women you're messing with. Dating might not be a game for them. It might be a big emotional investment. So if you don't have the maturity to take an evening in a good woman's company seriously, then I recommend you just avoid dating altogether until you've grown up and learned some respect. So in a follow-up video, this guy is listing a bunch of reasons why he thinks he was justified in asking her to split the bill. Some of them I found pretty disgusting, but let's take a look.
This is not back in the day where women are the prize anymore. Nowadays, women are not like how they used to be, where they just want to be, you know, stay-at-home moms, cook, clean, take care of the kids. It's not like that anymore. It's rare to find a woman that still wants to just do that.
So there's a real discord going on with this guy's thinking. He wants to have a traditional relationship, but he's not even prepared to play his own role in that dynamic by being a financial provider. Also, how does this guy feel like he is in a position to judge a woman's worth? So much could happen from a date, whether it's just an evening of companionship or it eventually leads to marriage and children together. So if that isn't the prize, then I want to know what is. And if he doesn't see women as a prize or something to be cherished, then why is he even going on dates anyway? After all, you're still investing your time and energy. You know what really grinds my gears is when guys in their 20s say women these days, and like they're romanticizing some era from the past that they have no idea about. You weren't alive in the 1950s. Like, how do you know what women were really like back then? Not to be vulgar, but women didn't even give blowjobs back then. People lived pretty unadventurous lives. So romanticizing an era that you didn't even live in order to justify you also not living up to that standard, it just makes no sense. It's better to appreciate what modern women can add to your life, otherwise you're going to end up living a very lonely one without them. And if you aren't prepared to buy dinner for what a woman could bring into your life, then you're grossly underappreciating the value of those things. Now, regardless of whether you want a traditional stay-at-home wife or a more modern egalitarian relationship, you've got to start off with your best foot forward. And you're giving her the right first impression by paying the bill, just in the same way that you are if you dress up and you look your best. So sure, you might occasionally end up buying dinner for a girl who doesn't want to see you again. But so what? Are you so fragile as a man that you can't take a little chink on your armor? The fact that this guy is in a flap over an appetizer just makes him look so weak. You've got to be the guy who can roll with the punches and keep smiling if you want to be successful in dating. Gentlemen, I hope this video has convinced you to pay the bill next time you find yourself on a date. I want to hear from you in the comments. Do you always pay the bill? Or do you think going 50-50 is sometimes justified? Now, if you want to pay the bill, but you just don't know how you can afford to do that, then let me know in the comments. Because I've got some ideas for you and I can make a whole other video showing you how to do that. Now, if you're interested in being the best gentleman you can be, but money is tight right now, I've also got you covered. Check out my video on how to be a high value man even if you're broke. My girlfriend and I talk about the different forms of value that you can provide in a relationship that have nothing to do with money. So until the next one, guys, let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on this topic, and I look forward to chatting with you all there.